You're probably not failing too much, you're failing wrong. For years, I used to spend way too long on a project or just never finish it because I couldn't make it perfect. And the entire time, I just kept thinking I should have known better. The problem is that we as perfectionists don't just take mistakes as something that happened. It's evidence that we're careless, incompetent, you name it. But that's not always what failure is trying to tell you. Sometimes you need a better system. Sometimes life is just messy. Sometimes struggling is literally just what it feels like to learn something new. Once I understood the difference, perfectionism became way less exhausting. But before I knew how to tell my failures apart, they all felt the same. Put a finger down if you've ever thought, I just need to fix one more thing. How did I not see this coming? Or my personal favorite, if it's not perfect, then I'm not doing it. See, it doesn't matter what kind of situation you had these thoughts in, your brain's just gonna take all of your failures and flatten them into one category when there's so many different kinds. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 3 different types of failure, why your brain confuses them, and how to tell if you're failing the right way. But first, I wanna test something with you. I'm gonna give you 3 different scenarios, and I wanna see if your brain treats them the same way mine used to. Failure 1 is that you forgot to attach an important document to a client email and your boss was CC'd. Failure 2 is that you got into a car accident. Do I need to say anything more? And failure 3 is that you decided to try and make content, but the only person that liked your TikToks was your mom. If all of these sounded like a you should have known better mistake to you, you'd be wrong. Amy Edmondson is a Harvard professor and author of the book Right Kind of Wrong, and she says there's actually 3 different types of failure. The first one is basic. It happens in a known territory with a single identifiable cause. So forgetting to attach that document to an email probably could have been avoided if one last proofread had been done before you hit send. Then we have complex failure. Again, this happens in a familiar situation, but there's a number of different things that align just right for the failure to happen. So for our car accident, yes, it's on the same commute that you take every day to work, but it's not just you. There might be bad weather. It could be another driver involved. All these things had to come together for you to get into that accident. Finally, we have intelligent failure. Now, this is the kind that happens in uncharted territory. So looking at content creation, yes, there's content on how to make content, but there's no specific playbook on how to make content for your voice, for your audience, so that you can go viral. Sounds simple enough, right? But the weird part is, even if you could go off and conceptually explain the 3 different types of failure to someone else, your brain would react to all 3 of them the exact same way. The reason why is what messes with perfectionists the most, and it comes down to one word. Also, real quick, if you're new here, hi, you can call me P. We love to yap all things mindset and self-improvement on this channel so that you can become the best version of you. If that sounds like something you're ready for, I hope you'll hit subscribe below. Now, back to that one word. I think we all know intuitively that there's a difference between feeling I did something bad and I am bad. One is uncomfortable but useful, and the other one just feels like a verdict. And for perfectionists, that difference is everything. Brené Brown is a researcher, and in her book, Daring Greatly, she makes the distinction between guilt and shame. Guilt says I did something bad. It's useful because it's a signal that there's something that you can change, a behavior, an action. Meanwhile, shame says I am bad, and there's nothing to act on here because you yourself are the failure. I remember one time I spent over 20 hours making a video, and when it didn't do well, I didn't just think, oh, okay, this video just wasn't meant to be. I thought maybe I'm just not cut out for content creation, and I didn't pick up the camera again for weeks. That's the thing about feeling shame. Once it's at the wheel, it does not matter what kind of failure happened. Missing email attachment, a car accident, content creation. All of these failures just get read as one thing, which is I'm a failure at no matter what I do. And this is where perfectionism starts shrinking your life. Shame doesn't just hurt, it starts changing what you're willing to try. Because who would want to be in these type of situations? Say that you spoke up in a meeting at work, but your idea got shot down, so you just replay the whole thing over and over in your head on your way home. Or you pick up a new hobby, but you feel so embarrassed about how bad you are that you drop it before you even give your skills a chance to develop. Shame will tell you that not only are these situations uncomfortable, but they're also a sign that you yourself are a failure. But there's one important thing that these situations have in common, and that's that you're operating in uncharted territory where success literally required information that you don't even have yet. And these kind of failures, we want these kind of failures. Now, I know to a perfectionist, that sentence I just said does not compute. Like, who wants to fail? But going off into uncharted territory where failure is supposed to happen is creating the perfect opportunity for you to learn from your mistakes. And if you're cringing at this right now, that is exactly how your shame wants you to feel. Stephen Bartlett is the host of Diary of a CEO podcast, and he has this line that I keep coming back to, which is failure is feedback, feedback is knowledge, knowledge is power. But once you throw shame into the mix, it just cuts the whole thing at its knees. Because once you experience failure and shame kicks into gear, your brain is no longer open and receptive to hearing feedback. Then, as a result, you can't turn that feedback into knowledge, and then you can't use that knowledge to execute on decisions that could literally change your life. You might never apply for your dream job, or you could become so fragile that you don't even want to hear any type of feedback. So if shame moves this fast and it's that bad, how do we stop a spiral at 1 a.m. when your brain is already halfway there to thinking, cool, I am fundamentally incompetent? Started using something I call failure literacy. And basically what it does is that it helps you figure out which kind of failure you're dealing with before shame hops into the driver's seat and says, you suck as a person. I use 3 questions for this that I'll throw up on the screen, and honestly, they take like 5 seconds, but they make such a difference in how a moment feels. The first one is, was this known territory? Second, is there a single identifiable cause for what went wrong? And third, did I have an informed hypothesis about what would happen? Take something like trying content creation for the very first time. Was this in known territory? No one gave you an instruction manual that said this is step-by-step what you're gonna do to go viral. And honestly, that by itself changes everything, because it means that struggling isn't evidence that you suck as a person. It means that you're in the part of the process where struggling is the default. I think we understand this instinctively as kids, and when we interact with kids, like a baby's whole existence is learning to how to become a functional human. But no one sees a toddler fall when they're trying to walk and say, wow, what a failure at life. And that's the thing, is that no person, perfectionist or not, should feel like a failure when something goes wrong, which is exactly why failure literacy is so important, because different failures need different solutions. Basic failures need systems so that one thing doesn't happen again. Complex failures need reflection because maybe there's a red flag that you can be on the lookout for in the future. And intelligent failures need the space for you to try again. Because honestly, intelligent failure is what growth feels like before it looks cool to someone else. Okay, that is everything I had for this video. If you enjoyed this, I hope you'll subscribe, so I'll see you in the next one. Now go get some sun.